Alice LPS. Hey guys, and today I'm showing you how I made these special costumes for my special friends. Recently some of my best friends came over from America and visited me in London, and I wanted to make them a special gift of their My Little Pony OCs. So this is what they look like. Tori is a white unicorn with pink and blue stripes in her hair. I think it's such a cute, simple design. And Tempo is also a white unicorn, but with red and black in his hair. Which is really convenient because who is a common pony that is a white unicorn? I wonder. Oh yeah, Rarity, wow! So let's start by drowning Rarity in hot water. What a great place to start. I'm trying to heat up the plastic around the head so I can pop the heads off easily. So I gave them a little hot bath, but I just couldn't get their heads off. Like, feel free to laugh at me, you know? But I eventually managed to get one off, but the other one didn't want to come off as easily. So I just let it sit in the hot water for a little bit longer, and while I was waiting for it to heat up, I decided to start to prep the other one by cutting off its mane, and then when that was done, the head came off. Hooray! Woo! And then it was time to tackle the cutie mark situation. For some reason, the nail polish remover wasn't removing the cutie mark. I don't know why. This was happening on both of them. It just wouldn't come off. So I tried using paint thinner because it has alcohol in it. It took a really long time, but eventually I got the cutie mark off. I don't know why it was so difficult. I've never had that issue before. Once I finished that, I took a scalpel knife and started to cut around the head peg. I was being really careful to not cut up through the plastic, so this is sped up footage. I'm being a lot more careful than it seems. Be careful with knives, kids, they're very sharp. And once I got the neck plug out, I marked it with a pencil so I know where it lines up when I put it back in. Then I pulled out the tail with some tweezers. Be sure to get the washer out as well. And then it's time to paint. I'm starting with Tori's custom because, I don't know, I thought it was really cute. Sorry, Tempo. Her cutie mark is a little purple book. I'm assuming it's a sketchbook because Tori really likes to do artsy things. So as that's drying, I decided to start pulling out the hair plugs. This is a very long process. It's probably my least favourite part of doing the custom. It also helps if you cut the hair as short as possible. I didn't do that for this, and I learned the hard way that the hair gets really clogged up in the neck and it doesn't want to come out. As I mentioned, you can make it easier by cutting the hair shorter, but you can also cut around the inside neck plug like we did earlier on the other side of the neck using the knife. But I don't really like to do that because I'm worried I'll mess up the shape. So I'm just tediously cutting away and grabbing all of the hair from the inside of her head. This took me a good 15 minutes at least, and a lot of wrist pain because it's a struggle, you know. Sometimes you've just gotta get through the struggles in life, and this is one of them. Look, the chunk! It's finally coming out! There's just this one big ball of hair that all stuck together, and look, it's finally out. Wow. Anyway, after all that kerfuffle, I'm going back in and painting on the details on her cutie mark of the little binder rings and the heart. Then using some grey paint, I'm painting in the little freckles. I forgot to film myself painting the eyes actually, so I painted those as well. But these are the freckles. And then I'm painting in a little bit of like a lighter grey highlight in the middle there, like the ponies do in their little eye shines. Then I'm fixing the black area and moving back onto the cutie mark. Next to the little drawing book, she has a little blue pencil, so we're just painting in that now. And the little details on it. What was that voice? Now I'm done with the painting! Yay! Well, at least on Tori. And I'm taking some satin varnish and I'm putting it over all the painted areas. Then I'm moving on to Tempo's. For this one I decided to cut the hair a bit shorter because of the problems I had last time removing the big chunk of hair from the neck. Yeah. So this one was a lot easier. Yeah, I'll definitely recommend doing that. So I'm just removing all of the hair from the plugs. And then I'm moving on to the paint again. Starting by painting the yellow on the eyes, and whilst that's drying I'm painting the little tempo for the cutie mark. I don't know what they're called. Is it called a tempo? It's like a little timer thing he has for his cutie mark. I tried to add in as much detail as I could, but I think it just looks a bit bad, so I'm sorry. And then I'm adding in the varnish just like I did with Tori. And now it's time to reroute. I think this might have been an older version of Rerouting because you can see where the factory have actually marked in the lines of where the colours are meant to be. I thought that was pretty interesting. I've never seen that on the base of a pony before. Whenever I've taken the hair plugs out, it's just their head, you know? It doesn't have the lines in there. Anyway, I'm going to be marking on my own lines now, so here we go. I'm starting with the pink, which is the colour French Fancy from Retro Dolls UK. And I'm cutting it to size and spritzing it with some water. For some reason I noticed this French Fancy colour came in a different length. I don't know, it might have just been my order, but this one came a little bit shorter, so I only cut it in half once. If you've never seen me reroute before, I'm taking this yellow tool, which is like a plug hole widener, and I'm shoving it in the plastic. And whilst the plug hole's getting wider, I attach the hair onto the rerouting tool, and then I take it out and I plug it in, and I repeat that across her whole head. And then I'm moving on to the blue section. I'm using this colour called Reef, which is also by Retro Dolls UK. These colours really go well together. They're a bit more vibrant than I think her actual pony's hair is, which is a little bit of a shame, but I think they're really pretty and colourful, and I think it's perfect for like her creative pony, you know? She has a little drawing thing, she's a creative little bean. I really enjoy rerouting. I find it very therapeutic. It's like a mindless thing you can do. You can pop on like a TV show or YouTube videos or something, or just music, or talk to people. You can just sit down and feel productive at the same time as just having a blast. But if you are new to rerouting, you should definitely be careful. I think I stabbed myself twice with the widening tool and once with the actual rerouting tool. Please be careful, kids and adults. After rerouting her head, it's time to add her tail. I made a little hank of a mix of pink and blue and then put it on a twisty tie and slid it from the outside in, and then used some tweezers from the neck hole, pulled it up and added a zip tie and pulled it back through the tail hole so it's all secure and it's not going anywhere. Once that's all done, I took a hair elastic and put her hair down across her face and put some boiling hot water over it, and then I let her dry and we're moving on to Tempo's reroute. Once again, marking on the areas where I want the black and red to be. The black colour I'm using is called Obsidian. It's just a very true black dark colour. It's a really nice one, I'd recommend it. So I cut that in half, added little ties on the other ends and cut it in half again so I have the right length of hair for a G4 custom. I like to do it at this length because you waste less hair. And then I'm spritzing it with some water, ready to reroute. If you use water, it helps the hair become easier to use. It clumps together easier, so you can get easier tiny hanks of hair to reroute, if that makes any sense. You'll get used to it if you're new to this, but I definitely recommend making the hair damp. Don't make it too wet, but damp, you know. And as you can see, I've kind of laid out some pre-made strands right here. This can really help if you're on a time crunch, if you lay out the hair like this. And want to be organized, unlike how I usually am. It can be pretty helpful. But yeah, after that we are finished with the black and we are moving on to the red. This color is called True Love and it's definitely more of an orangey red. I thought with the name True Love it would be a very bright red, but it works for the job. I'm glad I didn't need a very vibrant red for this custom. Like the art I was working from, the colors varied a lot, so I wasn't really too worried about getting the colour slightly off, so that was completely fine. As well as the colour of this hair, I also found the texture was a little bit different. They might have sent me the wrong one, or I might have just ordered the wrong type. I usually get nylon hair, but I don't know, it felt a little bit different. It was a fine different, like it worked for the project, but it wasn't what I was expecting kind of thing. But it was still really pretty, don't get me wrong. Anyway, time to add the tail in, same method as last time. Once I'm done with the tails, I'm sticking back in their little neck plug using some super glue. So I just add a few little dots all the way around the inside of the neck. And always make sure that the neck plug is lined up 100%. You don't want it to be stuck on for good and then the head is slightly wonky. I'm also putting some super glue on the inside of their heads. I would usually use tacky glue or some sort of fabric glue for this, but I just didn't have any. I ran out, so I used super glue. not the best. I wouldn't recommend, but it's all I had at the time. Once all the gluing is dried, I'm taking an eyebrow razor and a pair of scissors, and we're gonna be doing their main styles. For Tori, I'm mostly using scissors to cut off the length and just kind of making the ends a little bit thinner using the razor tool. But now we're moving on to Tempo, who has an edgy scene kid haircut. So I'm getting to live my 13-year-old Alice dreams of razor blading hair, because that used to be really cool with the teens and I was never allowed to do it. But now I'm able to do it, but it's on a plastic horse. It was a bit tedious, but it was also really fun. If you were doing this, I would recommend just being very careful. You don't want to accidentally cut your hands. The eyebrow razors I'm using are really safe, like they're not very sharp at all, and they have like specific grooves of where it can actually cut the hair. So yeah, be very careful. I cut the majority of the length off again with scissors, as you can see, and then I just added the texture in with the little razor. Look at it go. Now we're done that, gotta wrap up our little hair burrito and put it in the bin. Then I put the heads on the bodies and we are done. Oh my gosh, these guys turned out so well. I'm really happy with them and I really hope they like them as well. Speaking of them, I have some footage of me actually giving them their OCs. So let's roll that.
Eyes closed, hands out.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, it's so cute. Oh, it's a. Oh no. My OC. What do you mean? What?
Oh wait, I see it now.
I made that.
Oh my god, thank you.
Yo, that's so sweet.
Oh my god, so cute.
I filmed it all.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a brony.
You're a brony. I kept forgetting to give them to you guys. I'm really glad they liked them as much as I liked them, and it was really nice actually meeting them in person, and we had such a good time. I actually made like a whole animated story time on my animation channel of the week they spent in the UK if you're interested in seeing that. Also let me know which costume you prefer in the comments down below. Is it Tori's or Tempo's? I really like Tori's because of all of her colourful long pretty hair and her cute freckles, but I also really like Tempo's because it was so much fun making all like the scene edgy hairstyle. It was just really fun. And yeah, let me know who your favourite is, and I'll see you guys super soon in my next video. Bye guys!